Alright, I just checked out Black Bag, and I'll just say, I'm glad I watched it. Hello there, namaste. So let's check out the overview of Black Bag. When his beloved wife, Catherine, Kate Blanche, is suspected of betraying the nation, intelligence agent George Woodhouse faces the ultimate test. I guess George Woodhouse is Fassbender. I didn't know that was his name. I kept hearing the name George. I didn't know it was his character. Loyalty to his marriage or his country. So I'll go out and say, anyone who's going to watch this film and expect Mr. and Mrs. Smith, you're gonna be let down. This is more Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, yet you involve like a relationship aspect in the spy dynamic. So it starts off with Fassbender basically learning that there is a list of 5 people who have leaked the cipher. You know, the thing that will, there's always these things in this intelligence organization. And he sits down, Fassbender basically invites them all to dinner because he can tell when people lie, and plays a game with them while he basically poisons them as well to make sure they tell the truth. You know, like one of those medicines that make you tell the truth. And we are led to believe that it's his wife that stole everything. Everything in the film is there to lead you to believe that. The people he invites over for dinner all seem like idiots, so you're not supposed to suspect any of them. You're supposed to suspect his wife, who's the more cold-hearted, the more calculating one, the more powerful one. I gotta say, I like these films that lean more into the reality of what it is to be a spy. It's not running around shooting people. It's not, you know, all that stuff that they show in these other CIA films where it's always, you take out this person. An hour later, you're in like a completely different nation that's normally like a 20-hour flight away, taking out another person. And then you somehow sneak your way into another. Spies aren't like that. It shows like the boring, drawn-out aspect of walking into an office building, walking and talking and sitting for a therapist and all this stuff, which is actually more at home in an office setting, because let's be honest, most spies spend their time opening a dialogue, talking to their CIs, and yeah, that's basically it. It makes sense as to why there's nothing till the very end of the film. All the slow talking and boring stuff that goes into it, which isn't boring, but at the same time, this movie is an hour and 30 minutes long. It feels like a 3 to 4 hour film. The way they edited it, the way the dialogue carries on and doesn't actually build any tension through each scene, it just feels like it's thrown there because they have Kate Blanche in a room with a therapist, and it's like, it's exciting, but it's also so boring. They could have done so much more with that scene. They could have done so much more with all those talking scenes. I think the only good scenes were when they were sitting around the table discussing. Like that kind of dynamic is always cool because you got the people who are sitting across from each other with a person in the middle, and it's like this weird lean and checking. I like that. I like that. They had this. That was the best talking scenario throughout the entire film. Everything else just felt like it was forced there. But like every other relationship spy film, they don't like the fact that they work together, so they use them against each other in order to pin something on someone, in order to get them off the... It's all of that. We've seen it before in Mr. and Mrs. Smith and other films where it's more exciting because it's more action-packed. This one, I am glad I watched it, but at the same time, it's just so slow. The only good scenes was the first opening scene where Fassbender basically finds out immediately in the first 5 minutes that his wife is wanted for stealing the cipher, whatever it's called. And then it's about him and Kate Blanche basically working together and realizing that they're being pitted against each other. So they work together in order to corner the person who put them in. And of course it was 007 who didn't like their working together. Pierce Brosnan is in this movie. I mean, come on. Who didn't enjoy him as the over-the-top 007? Well, honestly, all the 007s before Daniel Craig were much better. They were all over the top. But in the end, with how this movie feels like it's 3 or 4 hours long, there isn't much to it. Kate Blanche and Michael Fassbender are in a relationship. They're both spies. How do they make the relationship work? Well, they spy on each other when they're both doing the black bag tasks. And the only other interesting thing is like everyone else who's in a relationship doesn't work out because they don't know how to make it work out the way Fassbender and Kate Blanche make it work. Of course, unless you stab your boyfriend in the hand because you find out he's been cheating on the job. You get to the final, basically the last bit of the scene where the actual thing happens, and the people who were invited for a meal at the very beginning of the film, who are basically poisoned to spill out their guts, you know, emotionally speaking, not figuratively speaking, you know, spill their secrets. They're invited back, and they put a gun on the table, and then it's like, then he starts questioning them again to find out, how did all this turn out? Why was I pitted against my wife? Why did this happen? Why did this happen? Why did this happen? And that's when you get the big reveal at the end of it all. Because always in these CIA things, in these mysteries, in these detective stuff, you always get the big reveal at the end. In the end, I didn't feel satisfied by it. It's like, okay, so this woman's a Catholic, and she agrees with the manslaughter of millions of people for the greater good. So she does this with this guy, but it's her boyfriend who is encouraging the manslaughter of millions of people so she read it on this person. It's so over the top. And of course, 007 was all, since he's now M, I guess, he's at the top of the organization. He's the one puppeteering everyone, putting everyone against each other. The only thing he couldn't account for was the Catholic woman who's too strong in her faith. And at the very end, we have Fassbender giving a rundown of everything he already knows. Everything. And that's the thing that bothers me. It's like, we weren't really given that much of an insight. I like it when we're given somewhat knowledge. It makes you want to run the film back so you can be like, oh, well, I noticed that. I noticed that. No, the only thing we are told is what Fassbender tells us. We were told that this guy is cheating on his girlfriend, which is why he was stabbed. We didn't see anything of it. We didn't actually get any information. But at the very end, that's a very important piece. We were supposed to know he's cheating on this person with this person when there is no run-in towards it. There's nothing leading up to it, except when she decides to break up with her boy. It's just, this film, I feel, could have been done a lot better. You could have had it a better editing, and the dialogue could have just been a little more concise. There's a lot of dead air that just doesn't feel tense enough in certain situations. It just feels like it's two people just talking to each other, which is what it is, but you can add tension into those to make it feel like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I can't believe how much tension there is here. And it's missing that. I'm glad I watched it. It does have some interesting points, but in the end, you don't need to bother watching it to actually get anything from it. They have a meal at the beginning where Fassbender is trying to find out who stole the cipher, and then they basically skip the entire middle scene, just say they ate dinner, the guy got stabbed in the hand, and then you cut to the very end, which will be dessert. In the end, you got like a 5-minute film. And you literally have all the information that was introduced in the beginning, introduced again at the very end, and you don't need the middleman, the middle fluff, except for it puts Fassbender at risk, and it puts Blanche at risk. Anyway, that's all I got. I'm glad I watched it. I'll never watch it again, but I did like certain dynamics. Again, this thing could have been done way better, but it's not like Mickey 17, which was just... They could have done so much more. But yeah, Black Bag. I don't recommend it, but I'm glad I watched it. Take that for what you will. Toodles!
You guys got a video? It's so bad.
And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Wait, wait on that.